name's Sam Johnson. We run a business up here called Boxgum Grazing at Young. It's a paddock to plate business. So we produce, process, and market, and we farm to regenerate the land base. So I'll tell you a little bit about our business, and then also how it meshes in with the DOV and land to market brand. So on our farm, there's 1,500 hectares here. It is all grassland and timber. It's not, we don't cultivate it all. It's all non-arable. So we produce 100% grass-fed beef and lamb. So we don't supplement with grain or hay. And also we do produce free-range pigs that are always on the land, but they are also supplemented with a grain-based diet. We have built an on-farm butchery over the last 5 or 6 years, and we market all our produce direct to consumers, either through a farmer's market in Canberra, through an online shop where people order and either pick up at the markets, or we do home deliveries. And we also have clientele locally that get product. So we use holistic management as a tool to make our decisions on the land, and the reason we do that is that if you're dealing with land and people and finances, it's a complex situation, and there's many balls in the air at once. So, and there's also many implications of the decisions you make. So it's often very hard to be aware of all the circumstances and the impacts your decisions have. So with holistic management, we start out identifying exactly what it is we're managing, which in our case is the land base and our customers and our family. And we come up with a simple but broad statement of the life we want to produce on this with this whole we're managing. And then we consider the supporting environment, how our land's got to be many decades into the future to continue supporting us in the way that we want it to be, and also the behaviours we need to exhibit such that our customer base and our suppliers and whatever want to work with us. So in holistic management, besides that, there are also a series of checks that once you've made a decision, you quickly run through the checks, and they will alert you to unintended consequences of your actions. Such things: are you actually treating a symptom or a cause? Is this detrimental to the environment? Gross margins, marginal reaction, for instance, are you putting your money where it's got the most value? So the thing with holistic management is we're always trying to focus on the bigger picture. We're not managing for the isolated elements in what we're dealing with, we're managing for the whole system. So for us, when we're managing the land, we focus on the ecological processes and the cycles that underlie all ecosystems and environments. So we're dealing with water and mineral cycles, the flow of energy through the system, and in all land-based activities, energy is all captured through plants, green plants. That's the only way energy comes into the system. The community dynamics also is taken into account, and this is really how complex is the system, how many species have you there, and is it tending towards complexity or simplicity? So the decisions and actions that we take on the farmer to address and improve the functioning of these ecosystem processes. So our strategies with our animals, as I say, we're dealing with the ecosystem processes. So we bunch our animals together. We only run 2 mobs, a small mob in front of a large mob. So they're effectively one mob on the land. We have a planned grazing regime, which is based on the plant recovery that's occurring at that particular time. So it varies from year to year and across the season. So we very much consider our animal mob as a tool on the land. So their impact and their grazing habit is a very powerful stimulant and recycling tool on the land. So that's our, that's the way we consider our mob. And in the process, we're producing wonderful chemical-free beef for our customers. So we also monitor feed and the animal numbers, so we vary them with the seasons. And the health of the animals each day. You can assess the animal's health through their gut fill and also the composition of their dung. Will tell you an awful lot about what's happening in their rumen. And the rumen really is the most significant part of a ruminant animal, which is the beef and the sheep. And in a sense, you're not feeding the animal, you're actually feeding the rumen. So that can be monitored quite simply each day. And also with the big mob, we're bringing into play concepts that are central to holistic management, such as the impact of the animal. That the hooves on the ground and the intense dunging can have a huge stimulatory effect, and they're unsurpassed in able to recycle old material back onto the ground where the soil biology can then get to it and take it back into the soil. So the land health that we see, as I say, we're focused on land health, and the land health is reflected in the animal health. If you've got healthy land, your animals stay healthy. If you've got sick animals, then you need to look at what you're doing on the land. So as a producer, how does EOV, which is ecological outcome verification, have a relevance for us? So the way I see it is it's verifying the trends on the way the ecology of our farm is moving. And it's an independent verification. It's not you looking over the fence and saying, oh yeah, things are going well, I'm a great person. I must be doing the right thing. It's actually others coming on, looking at the indicators that maybe you look at yourself, but assessing it in an objective sense. So you can actually get really good data on and independent data on the actual condition of your land. And so what you're asking is the ecological health improving or declining? So you start with a initial survey, and that sets your baseline, and that will vary with every farm. You're not talking a single baseline across everything. It's all indicated to your farm. And so then the next assessments that follow on are actually assessing, is the land improving from that initial point, or are indicators showing that we're sliding back in some areas? And it's really interesting to see the variability we can have across the farm and how different soil types and plant communities can be influenced differently by the same climate over the previous 12 months. So the EOV monitors the same indicators we use as farm managers in assessing the status of our ecosystem or ecological processes. So as Jill indicated, we look at ground cover, the condition of the soil's surface. For instance, is it bare? Is it covered? Is there evidence of soil droplet erosion? We look at indicators of soil life. Is there dung beetles? Is the soil being turned over by soil life? We look at perenniality. Are we shifting towards long-term stable, diverse perennial systems, or are we still oscillating with annual grasses and annual weeds? Obviously, we look at species diversity and age. Is there old plants? Is there young plants? We consider, are the plants green leaf? In other words, are the solar collectors up, or is the plant material senescent and dying, and therefore posing problems in recycling? And we also look at insect life. You can just listen to your pasture often, or when you're down in your pasture, listen, and you'll hear the buzz of insects if they're there. So that's the producing side. The processing marketing, we set up boning room butcher shop on farm where we do not do the slaughter. That's done at a local abattoir. The bodies come back to us and we cut them up and package them up for customers. So the reason EOV is significant here is that, and the reason we do direct marketing is that people are wanting to know how their food is produced and its impacts. And that's not just impacts, that covers impacts from the ecology on the land, but also particularly the animal health issues. How are the pigs raised? And pigs particularly are ones that people are very interested to know whether they've been in intensive situations, factory situations, or are they on the land and without gestation crates and things like that. And also we stress with the livestock handling that we all use low stress techniques. And if you're marketing direct to people, then the way the animals are handled has a huge impact on the meat quality that comes out the other end. And so this transparency around production really reflects the idea that every time you eat, you participate in farming. So the animals that you and the food that you buy all has an impact back to the land and the way it was produced. And so we're trying to educate consumers that they have a role here. They not only want to know how we produce, but we need them to know that the way they buy impacts on the systems and the way animals are produced. So for us, with the marketing, the strength of EOV is that it highlights for us and our customers the link between land management and land health, and as part of that, food quality, because there's no doubt that food coming from healthily raised animals off healthy land in a low stress manner, cognizant of all those factors that go into meat quality, is very important. So, and it also for us strengthens the links between the decisions consumers make and the impacts on farm. If people are demanding and willing to pay for production in a certain manner, that it encourages producers to produce that way, or if they start asking curly questions about how your animals are produced, what you're doing about medications and such things like that, you need to be able to tell them exactly how the animals are produced. So it's very much an idea of transparency for consumers. You're not trying to greenwash them, you're just trying to give them the true story. And it also explains why the food tastes so damn good. That the care that has gone into the land and the management of the animals is reflected in the quality. So the education is a very big aspect of why we've undertaken this verification process. Even though it's just in the very formative stages, this is an example of something that's going to become much more prevalent down the track as people become more conscious of the way of the impacts that animal production, all food production really, has on the land, and hence the decisions of consumers, their decisions, the impacts that has on the land. So it's a learning for all of us, for producers, for market partners and consumers, that we're all in this together, and that if we want to produce better outcomes on the land, if we want to produce better outcomes for our animals, and if we want to produce good, healthy food without levels of antibiotics or medications, then we all have to be on the same page with this one. So as I say, it's independent verification of the impacts on the farm of food and also across the consumer chain.